You're watching Grueling Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Grueling Gaming. A sub you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Kingsguard. Leandros is back. Almost said Echo. I've got Echo on the mind, y'all. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alrighty. Whether it be family, a loved one, a stranger, or even your own self, a blade is used to protect. But there is one other purpose that swords are used for, and that is... in killing. When you hold a blade, you are taking on the burden of knowing that you may have to end a life. If they had any family, they would likely mourn for them. If they had aspirations or dreams, you will have cut them short. With every single death, it begins to weigh more heavily on you, until you feel like you are being crushed under a mountain of corpses. Even if you claim you are doing it for a righteous cause, or even just to protect yourself or someone else, it will still be the same. Which is why if you were to ever have to use a blade, I only want it to be in defense. Many have fallen to the allure of power and the burden of killing, becoming nothing more than a monster. I don't want that to happen to you. What you will be learning is how to kill someone. To use your blades to not only defend yourself, but to make sure that whoever decides to come after you will never have the chance again. Those assassins. They are skilled, but I can see that they moved rather clunky. I don't know if they were just low-paid hitman, but next time I don't see you being so lucky. It was a miracle that you held your own from that wolfman, so I'll be sure to train you so that you don't have to rely on just luck to survive. The face of the wolfman flashed in front of your eyes, his devious smile haunting you ever since you met him. The next time you find yourself in danger, you'll be prepared to fight for your life, for the times that I am not around to save you. So you're really serious about this? Alright, I won't let you down. This isn't about letting either of us down, it's about making sure that you can survive. You will sweat harder than you ever have before. Your legs and arms will be sore, but you will need to fight through it and remain strong. I won't be able to go easy on you, so be fully prepared. Leandros had a calm face, but even you could tell he was suppressing his feelings. The moment he mentioned that you would be trained to kill, your hands started to sweat, your heart dropped. You knew it would be necessary, and even though you tried to keep your emotions in check, there was a nervousness biting at you. If you were feeling this way, then you can imagine how he felt about this. Likely torn in two. You were just glad there wasn't really any ale on the island for him to consume, because he likely would have ran for it later tonight. Ah! Jake, get up! You're lying backside on the beach, spread eagle. Your makeshift blade was kicked away to the side and your stomach was in pain. Jake, if I was your enemy, you would have been dead 10 times over. Now get up! Ah! You groaned and picked yourself up, staggering to stay on 2 feet. Leandros' voice was already beginning to annoy you. It had only been 20 minutes and you were sent sprawling into the sand nearly 20 times already. And your blade flung out of your hand twice as many times. Come on, pick up your blade and try again. You reached forward and grabbed the shoddy branch you were training with then to get back into your stance. You think you can defend yourself standing like that? His words drilled into you as you quickly fixed your footwork, though as soon as you did, he came rushing forward. To say that you were keeping up with his movements was an overstatement. It was though you were just a training dummy, standing still and taking the beatings of a seasoned knight. God, poor Jake. Hey, he's gotta learn. Every move flashed by like lightning and struck hard like a runaway wagon. It was as he said yesterday, the training was grueling, but you weren't expecting him to go this hard on you. Off to the side was Jaws, likely there for support, but honestly it only made you nervous realizing how much of a fool you looked like. Gah! The lion came at you again, not showing any signs of backing down. And just a single swipe, your weapon was knocked out of your sore hands and you were tripped to the ground. Damn it! Jake, I know already! Before he was able to finish his words, you picked yourself back up and dusted yourself off. You were starting to get really annoyed with the way that he was treating you. This is supposed to be training, but he was attacking you like you were a criminal. Jake, you were not keeping your feet spread apart enough. Watch me carefully and counter. Jake, how do you expect me to counter? You move way too fast and hit way too hard. By paying attention and predicting when I'm going to strike next. You bent down and reached for your sword before gaining a bit of distance. Stance, Jake, stance! Ah! Whiter, I'll trample over you again. It's because you're bigger and stronger than me. Remember our talk last week, the smaller man in the Coliseum? You said that match was a fluke. The Beastman only lost because he boasted. The smaller gladiator would not have gotten that far on incompetent foes alone. He had grounded footwork and proper stances. The result of hours of training. If you actually try, you can beat me, but so far you haven't been listening to a word I say. I have been! Then fix your stance. Once more, as soon as you had grounded your feet, Leandros came rushing back in, the swing of his blade, the swing of his weapon wailing on you. You only blocked a few of his hits, but the power and force rang through your weapon and up your arms. You dropped your sword out of mere pain and cradled your hurt hands, wrists, and arms. Ah! I give up! Jake, pick up your weapon. We're not finished. Well, I am. Hey! Leandros grabbed your wrists and kept you from walking away. He was holding on tightly. You couldn't really tell as you were already numb from the pain. We're not done here. What is with you? I thought you were supposed to be training me. What do you think this is? It's you wailing on me like I'm some punching bag let out your anger. I'm not a soldier. You keep beating me up like this I will break. You knew what you were getting into when he said the training was going to be brutal, but this was way too much. He showed no restraint, no holding back. Compared to him, you might as well have been fighting a brick wall, a really fast-moving brick wall that could dodge your every move. You're beginning to wonder if he was finding pleasure in this. Take it now. Oh god, that orange cream bubbly is incredible. He's in the background. What voice was I doing for Jaws? Perhaps you should give Jake a break. You two have been going at it since sunrise. Jake has learned nothing so far. If we stop now, it was just a waste of time. He's also human with not nearly the same stamina as you and I. Leandros turned and looked you up and down. The sweat dripping from your brow, your labored breath, the sagging shoulders. He turned his eyes to the side when he saw the condition you were in and gently let go of your arm. You're right. Sorry. Excuse me. Leandros headed back off towards the town, and you were left rubbing your arm. Why was he getting so violent? You knew he could get mad, but you really had to test him to get him like that. But this? He was like a boiling pot about to overflow. Well, you knew that the events of these past weeks were challenging all of you. It was almost as though he was a completely different person. Hey, you alright? Yeah, thank you. I know that training can be tough, but you were looking real beat up out there. Is he usually that harsh? No, up till now he's always been very patient. He's never acted that way with me. I don't get what's with him. He seemed kind of tense, like he had 100 things on his mind. It seemed to me that he was almost enjoying it. I'm gonna be really sore tomorrow. Sorry about that. What are you apologizing for? You weren't the one throwing me onto the ground like an unwanted toy. Hell, I mean, I might have had something to do with how he's acting. What did you tell him to beat? What did you tell him to beat me like a criminal? No, I just... To be honest, he came to see me last night while you were asleep. Said he needed someone to talk to in private. He was having doubts about training you. Said that a king should have no need to wield a sword when they have soldiers to do the fighting for them. That you are far too important to send you out into battle. I see that he still can't stop thinking of me like a child. I can't count the number of times he said those same words to me. I can see where he's coming from. Wanting to completely shoulder the responsibility of keeping you safe. After all, you're important to the kingdom and to him. But at the same time, wouldn't he feel much more at ease if he knew how to properly defend yourself? And that's what I always said. I know that he's never going to always be there for me. Well, he didn't really seem to like when I said that. I said I was butting in on matters I didn't know about. Though he was the one that came to me. Anyway, before he left, I reminded him that you were the king now. And while it was his responsibility to protect you, it was also his responsibility to believe in you to do what he can to support you. If you want to go with him to Renero, then he should do all he can to make sure that you are well prepared. He reached down and picked up your makeshift weapon. It had several cracks in it and likely wouldn't hold together if it received another beating like before. I'm sure he'll cool off and come around. Guys like him take a while to change. He just needs some time to think things through. I hope so. No, until he comes back. What do you say to some lunch? I can head out in the water and catch us something. Probably just cranky because he's hungry. He might come running over it once he catches a whiff of the scent of cooked fish. Take it now. He's stubborn. I doubt that he'd just come over because he was hungry. Well, it'll be his loss if he doesn't get here by the time the food gets cold. Thinking I can catch some cod. It's nice and fatty this time of year. Cod. He reminded me last night that was his favorite. Well, maybe that would be the trick to soften him up. The two of you can talk things over a good meal. Hey, don't worry too much about him. I'm sure he'll come running back to you begging for your forgiveness. If I know him, he'll be expecting me to apologize. Well, you never know until you try, right? Now then, time to go fishing. Jaws removed his clothes, leaving him in just a tightly wrapped cloth around his waist and groin. His back and his chest was etched with scars, more than even Ramos. You really wanted to ask where he had gotten so many, but you knew it would have been rude after all that he had done for you. When he turned around, you were caught staring. Sorry, I didn't mean to stare again. It's alright, not like you're the first. Besides, I should be the one to apologize. Undressing right in front of the king like that. I really didn't mind it. Once again you were checking out his body, and you turned away before your face became any more flushed. I take it you're curious about how I got these scars. Maybe just a little bit. I don't mind talking about them. Don't bother me much. I've had these ones since I was maybe about half your age, when I first washed up to shore on this island. He pointed to two smaller ones on his chest and arms. And that was when you met Ayana, right? Yeah, sweet little Ayana, not even frightened in the slightest to see a scary-looking shark. Maybe she thought you were cute at the time. Heh, I don't know about that. This face really hasn't changed all that much from when I was younger. Little lass like her probably was more curious than frightened. Anyway, once she patched me up, she asked me about the scars. At least I assumed she wanted to know, with her being unable to speak and all. Couldn't really tell her much, as I was just as confused as she was. Most of my memory is pretty damn fuzzy from that point back. There was a storm, and I remember my ship getting swept up and capsizing by the waves. I must have smacked my head on something really hard, because I woke up on this very beach with a lick of memory of my past. You're just like me. I can't really remember much about my past either. My mother, I mean. My father said there was an accident, but no one has ever said anything about what happened. I could barely remember her face if it wasn't for her portrait. I wish I could say that I remember my parents, but honestly, who's to say if they're even alive? Have you ever thought about going out to find them? I did at first, but eventually I learned that a shark beastmen leave their children behind at a young age. I might not remember much of my past, and my parents probably left long ago, long before I washed up on this island. As for the rest of these scars, well, those are longer stories. Mostly out when I was diving or when I got into some rough fights at the taverns. So you get into fights often? Not so much anymore. The last scar I got was from a rhino beastman a few years back. Both of us were in a bit of a drunken stupor, and one insult led to a fist fight. It's like it must have hurt. As drunk as I was, I probably didn't even realize it. Of course, I left him with a mark to remind him of me as well. Josh showed off his teeth, and it was easy to see what kind of damage he could have done. You really do have a lot of them. Yeah, probably too many. They're pretty nasty, aren't they? Touch. Would you mind if I, touch them? Touch. Never mind. That's kind of a strange thing to be asking. I forgot I said anything. That curious about them, huh? Suppose there's no harm in letting you. Are you sure? Just as long as you aren't going to poke at them until they hurt. Jaws moved closer and you were caught nearly craning your neck to look up at him. He was even more intimidating up close. Are you sure it's alright? Hell, just as long as you don't pick at them or anything. He brought out his thick arm and you reached your fingers out slowly. Your hands couldn't even wrap around the entire length of his arm, and you were taken aback at how rough it felt. His hands were soft, but the rest of his body had a very light, gritty texture, almost like sand. He traced your fingers down his arm, feeling the scars of different depths and lengths. Somewhere along the line, you realized that you were ignoring his scars, and more so feeling his biceps at that point. Your hand somehow managed to wander over to his chest, feeling over his deep pecs, leaving his scars as an afterthought. Jake? You realized now that you were just inches away, your hands completely pressed against his body as though you were giving him a massage. Oh! And you quickly backed away from him, embarrassed that you were pretty much just groping him at this point. Yeah, I'll get back to catching us some fish then. Before you could get in a word, Josh rushed out into the water and vanished beneath the waves, leaving you all alone. What was I thinking? Filling him up like that? Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. That's all my throat can handle for the night. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Alright, y'all. I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!